The Pathfinder R51, produced from 2005 to 2012, offers a spacious cabin, ample cargo capacity, and a commanding presence on the road. With its impressive off-road capabilities, the Pathfinder becomes the perfect companion for those seeking thrilling escapades off the beaten path. Under the hood, you'll find two powerful engine options, including V6 and V8 variants, providing ample power and towing capacity for your adventures. Whether you need to tow a trailer, a boat, or any other recreational equipment, the Pathfinder's towing capacity ensures you can bring along everything you need for your next adventure. Now, like any vehicle, the Pathfinder R51 has its strengths and weaknesses. Let's take a closer look at the third Gen Nissan Common Issues. It's Max the Car Guy. Subscribe and let's get started. Exploding sunroofs. Due to a poor tempering process, Nissan Pathfinder models equipped with the glass sunroof seem to struggle with it spontaneously exploding. This issue was so pervasive that a class action lawsuit was brought against the company in 2017 as a result. The Nissan Pathfinder's panoramic sunroof is not known for having this issue, but there have been reports of it occurring in other Nissan models as well. The likelihood of this happening will increase if the glass surface is heated for a long time. Unfortunately, other than replacing the part, which is fairly expensive, there is no way to stop this from happening permanently. Applying a durable tint and avoiding parking the car in the sun for long periods of time are two ways to protect the panel from the sun. Consider purchasing a fairly substantial car cover if you don't have access to a garage or other covered area. No mileage can be attributed to this issue because exploding sunroofs are caused by heat from the sun. Excluding the cost of fitment, which can be close to $300, the original glass sunroof panel with upgraded tempering that can withstand the heat will cost $700. EVAP canister clogging. The well-known EVAP canister clogging issues with the brand do not exempt the third-generation Nissan Pathfinder. Because of how serious this issue was, Nissan increased the parts warranty to 15 years or 150,000 miles. It is known that the vapor tube, which is situated between the tank and the EVAP canister, is the problematic component of the system. The ECU of the vehicle will turn on the check engine light once this becomes blocked. You should anticipate gas spills when refueling your car as a result of this obstruction. Additional error codes that you might see usually range from P440 to P456. There also may appear P1446 code. A new vapor tube must be installed in vehicles that are no longer under warranty, but we also advise having a new canister put in. After 80,000 miles, EVAP canister vapor tubes will probably start to clog. A new EVAP canister and vapor tube installation will run you about $350. Coolant and transmission problems. A nasty radiator issue and an automatic transmission issue plagued the third-generation Nissan Pathfinder line. The Pathfinder's radiator cooler lines will eventually start to leak coolant into the transmission after some use. This not only prevents the transmission from cooling, but it also causes issues with the valve and seals of the Nissan Pathfinder's transmission and gearbox, which are prone to rapid corrosion. No recall was ever issued because Nissan addressed this issue by extending the radiator assembly warranty to 8 years or 80,000 miles. When shifting or accelerating, your Nissan Pathfinder may experience vibration issues if this starts to happen. Random stalling will also occur, and the car won't warm up while idling. The radiator cooler lines can be inexpensively replaced if you discover that they are dripping fluid. Any irregularities with the transmission may be signified by lots of OBD2 codes, starting from P7, P8, P17, P15, and P18. This can be determined if you perform a transmission oil change and observe that the fluid has a strawberry milkshake color. If transmission damage is too severe, the entire transmission will need to be rebuilt or replaced, which will be very expensive. Transmission issues related to coolant can start as early as 60,000 miles. The cost to replace the cooling lines is only about $300, but the cost to refurbish the transmission is $2,000 instead. A completely new transmission will cost $3,500, not including fitment. Your coolant is mixing with the transmission oil if your transmission is experiencing jarring vibrations when shifting or if the fluid resembles a strawberry milkshake. VQ40DE common problems. The 2005 Xterra and Pathfinder models introduced the VQ40DE, a naturally aspirated 4.0-liter V6 engine. It has an aluminum block and head, dual overhead cams for controlling the intake system and continuously variable valve timing, and multi-point fuel injection. Overall, if properly maintained and regularly serviced, this is a generally reliable unit, but you do need to watch out for problems with low oil pressure and oil leaks. Timing chain issues also plague the Nissan Pathfinder. The upper or secondary timing chain for the VQ40DE from Borg Warner is prone to tearing through the tensioner. The plastic tensioner itself is the problematic component because it cannot withstand the sharp edges of the chain. The tensioner will need to be replaced, which is expensive, once the chain gets its teeth into it. We strongly advise you to choose an aftermarket aluminum part because it has been shown to last longer. The P3 to P306 fault codes will appear if your tensioner is on its way out. You can expect issues like a whining or buzzing sound that becomes more noticeable at higher revs, a rough engine idle, and overall poor engine performance as the timing is thrown off. Ineffective gaskets, seals, and rubbers that gradually lose their integrity are to blame for oil leaks from the VQ40DE. The valve cover gaskets, which are exposed to a lot of heat, are the ones that deteriorate most frequently. You will see spots of oil on the floor and some of the engine parts once this or any other gasket wear occurs. You may smell burning oil and even see some smoke if it strikes heated engine components. The rear timing cover gasket, which may leak oil against the engine block, is another issue with the VQ40DE. This will cause some of the oil to become stuck rather than recirculating through the system, causing low oil pressure issues. This issue will illuminate the low oil pressure warning light, translate into an audible engine noise, and result in overheating issues for Nissan Pathfinder models from 2005 to 2012 that will display the P1217 fault code. The rear timing cover needs to be replaced, which is an expensive job but the best solution. The timing chain replacement should ideally be done concurrently with this task. The Nissan Pathfinder's V6 engine also has a catalytic converter issue. As the catalytic converter begins to clog over time, increased gas and oil use may also develop. During the exhaust valve overlap phase, the ceramic powder will eventually be drawn into the engine and begin wearing away the cylinder walls. It will initially collect at the bottom of the catalytic converter. As a result, the car's compression is decreased and its oil and gas consumption rise. Additionally, it will cause frequent engine stalling, a rough idle, and misfiring. The standard upper catalytic converter should be swapped out for a high-flow system. Check to see if this is legal in your state first because it will affect its emissions. It will completely solve the issue. P420 and P430 are two fault codes for catalytic converters. Timing chain issues can start as early as 80,000 miles. Depending on usage and driving condition, valve cover gaskets begin to leak between 120,000 and 160,000 miles. After 120,000 miles, a catalytic converter clog could develop. Timing chain replacement and aluminum tensioner installation will probably cost $900 in total, including parts and labor. Depending on the component that needs repair, gasket replacement can cost anywhere between $400 and $1,200. For parts and labor, installing a high-flow catalytic converter will run close to $1,900. VK56DE common problems. With its aluminum block and heads, molybdenum-coated pistons, and dual overhead cams controlling its continuously variable valve timing system on the intake valve, the VK56DE naturally aspirated 5.6-liter V8 shares a lot of similarities with the VQ in terms of construction. To increase durability, the camshafts are micro-finished, and the cylinder liners are made of ductile iron. The Pathfinder uses a multi-point injection system to deliver fuel to the system. The timing chain, exhaust manifolds, and oil leaks from the valve cover gasket are known to be problems for the VK56DE. The timing chain issue with the VK56DE is brought on by significant elongation, which can also put stress on the tensioners. Nissan provided a new chain and tensioner kit in 2012 to address this issue, but replacement is expensive. Squeaking and rattling sounds, an illuminated check engine light, a loss of power, and subpar engine performance are all signs that your chain is beginning to wear. Additionally, susceptible to cracked exhaust manifolds is the VK56DE. Metal fatigue will eventually develop as a result of the frequent heating and cooling, which will cause cracks. This will result in exhaust gas leaks. When this happens, you'll hear ticking noises, smell raw exhaust coming from the engine bay, and the check engine light will turn on. The only solution is to install new manifolds, which is a very costly and labor-intensive task. Gaskets on the VK56DE wear out with time and use, which leads to oil leaks. The valve cover gaskets seem to be the most problematic, similar to the VQ40DE, but all gaskets and rubbers will crack over time and result in obvious oil leaks. You'll smell burning oil and see smoke coming from the engine bay if oil leaks onto hot engine components. The affected gaskets must be replaced in order to solve this problem. The VK56DE can struggle with a blocked catalytic converter when given poor quality fuel. This will send catalytic fragments into the engine through the exhaust valve, quickly wearing down the cylinder walls and internals and raising oil and gas consumption. You'll notice misfiring, a rough idle, difficult starting, and frequent stalling as soon as this happens. It is suggested that you swap out the stock upper catalytic converter for a high-flow component. This may be against the law in some states because it will increase the engine's emission and put it at risk of failing emissions tests, but it will solve the issue. After 100,000 miles, the VK56DE may experience timing chain issues. Exhaust manifold cracking may begin between 120,000 and 160,000 miles. After 100,000 miles, gaskets and seals may start to wear. After 60,000 miles, the catalytic converter may clog. For parts and labor, a new timing chain and tensioner kit will probably cost $3,500. For parts and labor, a new exhaust manifold fitment might cost $3,000 in total. Depending on which gasket needs to be replaced, prices can range from $200 to $1,400. For parts and labor, high-flow catalytic converter will cost $1,900. In the third-generation Nissan Pathfinder, other unusual issues that might arise include a falling starter relay that causes the P615 error code and a high idle after a throttle body cleaning. Additionally possible and responsible for the P462 and P463 fault codes is a malfunctioning fuel level sensor. The Jeep Grand Cherokee and Toyota 4Runner have some clout in the competitive mid-size SUV market, which the third-generation Nissan Pathfinder entered. There aren't many options for engines and drivetrains, but if kept in good condition, the V6 and V8 should prove to be dependable powertrains despite their low efficiency.